Guys, we are back for another episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play. We're a couple of minutes late, and I blame that on my day. I've had like the worst day ever, but that's okay because we are here, and we're here to talk about some fun, exciting products. And I've had these guys on the books for probably like 6 months or more, and it's fun whenever these kind of pop up because I don't know who's coming up the next week or the week after or what have you. And I feel like our guest tonight got, because it was supposed to be another person from this company, but I'm under the impression that he was triple booked. So tonight we are still talking to somebody from the company, and I'm pumped to one, meet him and learn more about this company. And I have to say I feel really bad about this, but I was pronouncing the name incorrectly for, I don't know, 3 years or more since I've heard about this company. So I have to apologize. I'm glad that I didn't get yelled at online. He did that offline. But we have Matt with us tonight from SEAMUS Golf, and I am really excited to learn more about their products and all of the stuff that they do. And it's very custom. It's very iconic. Like, I feel like you look at any one of their products, whether it's a head cover or a divot repair tool or a ball mark or, oh, I got a cocktail in my hand. Don't worry. I've had a bad day, so you know I got a G&T in my glass. But I'm excited to learn more about that. So I'm going to let him take it over for a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about what he does with the company. So, Matt, welcome to the hashtag Wednesday Match Play.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit more about your role with the company, what you do, how long you've been there, and kind of just give us an elevator pitch of what SEAMUS Golf is all about.
Well, I'll start with myself. I'm director of e-commerce. So basically anything you're seeing on the website probably has, gone through me at some point or another. And really, I started with SEAMUS Golf about 2012 when Akbar came, as he will say, schlepping his wares to a private country club named Riverside Golf and Country Club, where I was the buyer and first assistant at the time. And just one thing led to another. We kind of started working together on the website, and now I ended up at SEAMUS about 2 years ago full time. So it's been a great little move by all means. No longer holding up a counter, and just could not be more happier where I am. And I mean, the company's great. And I'll kind of give you some background on SEAMUS, which SEAMUS, I came across a product guide today, super random. And I'll just read it to you. It's pretty hilarious. So Sheamus is an Irish Terrier dog, actually, is what they named the company after. And Sheamus is a mischievous, fun-loving Irish Terrier with an adorable sense of humor. When it comes to Seamus O'Reilly and SEAMUS Golf, life is all about the love of the game. So that's kind of like where it started, and was just named after their dog, and then Scottish heritage. The whole idea actually came about because Akbar and Megan, their husband and wife, they own the company. And Akbar had gotten a head cover from his dad along the way through his travels. And I believe it was St. Andrews at the old course, but Akbar, don't quote me on that one. And we actually have just made a replica earlier this year of it with a sock cover, but had a little bit of tartan on it. So one thing led to another. It ended up getting ripped. And he asked Megan, who was a designer at Pendleton Woolen Mills in Portland, hey, can you fix this for me? One thing led to another. They ended up having actually made some for his friends for Christmas presents. And Akbar and his brother Ali had worked down at Bandon. So as caddies, shop guys, just one good connection after another. And Akbar went down there, said, we're going to do our initial offering. I'm going right after Bandon Dunes. That's going to be my first course. And he walked in with basically an army case of head covers, set it down, started talking with their director of golf, Jeff Simons, and that was our first account. So we specialize all in Scottish tartan, but we've since moved out of it as far as doing some different cool head covers and pouches that integrate wax canvas, Cordura. I mean, you name it, we've probably touched it. Sunbrella. I mean, we've had Army uniforms and military uniforms come in, and we'll create a head cover out of it, and it makes super unique gift. So we've had that a lot lately. So it's been really cool to see where we started and where we are now, and integrating a blacksmith into the mix. It's great.
So through all of that, and I appreciate all of that backstory, and that's really cool where it came from and how new it is to be as big as you guys are and to have started with such an epic course as your first client. And as you know, I work with and for Troon and Pronghorn, which is in Bend, Oregon, not too far from where you are. They are a very, very high-end daily fee / private club, and I can only imagine seeing they've got some iconic, I mean, the logo itself, and I could see some head covers and some stuff there. So now this is kind of like a recap set of a couple of questions off of what you just said. First off, you are very custom in everything that you guys do, and it reminds me a lot of what Patrick Gibbons is doing. Are you familiar with Patrick Gibbons Golf, the stuff that he's doing? He's actually based here in Scottsdale, and I know him quite well.
Definitely. So we see him at the PGA Show basically at least once a year. And, you know, we're kind of doing the same thing as far as custom, handmade. Everything's made in the U.S. and kind of has that extra special touch to it. It's not just mass produced. And that's something we really strive upon. And
what made me think of him is when you said that you had the military uniforms and you made head covers out of those. He made head covers, and it's kind of like his staple is that he made head covers and a golf bag out of like his ex-wife's Louis Vuitton bags.
I almost actually purchased one of the cash holds because I loved it so much. I just love the story on it. I'm like, this is I don't see him as much as I used to because I don't play as much golf as I used to. I feel like I work weekends, but I'll make sure he sees this too because he gets brought up. But he's a great guy, and I love the stuff that he's producing, and it's very similar. And I never even thought about that correlation, and now I'm going to get him on the show because I want to compare the two. And I mean, do you look at somebody like that? And there's not a lot of companies like this. Like, is he competition to you, or do you guys kind of play in different fields, or kind of how does that look for you guys? Actually, sorry, you just kind of cut out there for a sec. Can you repeat that last part of that?
Yeah. So is somebody like Patrick a competition to you guys, or is it such a unique niche market? I mean, do you look at him as competition and vice versa?
I mean, we have, you know, Portland alone, you have Mackenzie golf bags, you have Jones golf bags, all within like 5 miles of each other. It's kind of astounding when you start thinking of craft golf gifts and accessories. But I mean, we don't see them as a competition at all. It's actually, I think it's great for the industry to have, you know, because the end consumer has so many options, and we just love seeing the stuff made here in America. So I think it's great for the industry. And I mean, yeah, who doesn't love a couple different options in the marketplace? So no, and I mean, we're great friends with, I would say, the majority of the companies out there. So once again, we run into our booth at the PGA Show, kind of hug it out and see how it's going. And
that's cool. Yeah. And one of the questions that I had, and so you've answered that, is do you guys go to the PGA Show? So do you guys do well the PGA Show? I mean, do you get a lot of exposure, or do you just, I mean, are you actually building and making things right there on the show floor? I've been 4 or 5 times many years ago, but kind of what's your experience, and what has it been at the PGA Show in just the last couple of years?
Definitely. And actually, that's a perfect question. I've been to the last 2 PGA shows with Sheamus. So, I mean, a lot of experience there is just people finding us, number one. So we've kind of moved around in different areas of the PGA Show, and it's always, I mean, when everyone gets there, if you've never been, it is so mind-boggling as far as how large that show is. You know, you can walk 8 miles, it seems like, in a day, and you're about to collapse. But no, we don't actually make anything there during the Orlando show. I believe it was 3 years ago. They went to the Vegas show, and one of our production manager, Ashley, was actually sewing on site to just kind of show them the background of how we actually make everything. But at the latest ones that I've been a part of, we'll show everything. We have kind of everything pre-made as far as some, obviously, as far as we can, you know, monogram let's say player initials for a tournament, or we put the logo on a leather tab, or up on top, we'll, you know, embroider the logo. It's just, I mean, we've done so many different logo applications, and that's kind of really been, I think, a positive for a lot of the clubs that we deal with. But what we will do is we bring our anvil typically to every PGA show. And if you know any of the background, we do these hand-forged ball marks and bag tags that are all made by a blacksmith in Portland. and we do them in multiple metals. And so when guys come cruising by from some of the shops, they'll hear this big clanging, and they're like, "What is that?" So they usually stroll over, and then you see Akbar, Brad, or myself just kind of trying to line up the best we can as far as straight across. And it's kind of hard to erase as our ongoing joke, because as soon as you pound that in, it's permanent. You're not gonna erase it unless you melt it down, and that's really not what we do there at the show.
That's awesome. So where can people buy these products? I mean, I know that you have a website, but are there places that people can actually go and put their hands on them and touch them in golf shops, or is it all online?
No, definitely not. So I just handle the online side, as well as, I assist with, I'd say, some collaborations that we do with other golf manufacturers. But no, I mean, we have a large amount of accounts across the U.S. as well as, into other countries, Canada, some in Ireland. So, I mean, great followership that we've kind of, I would say, built online. And they're super surprised sometimes when they walk in the shop. They're like, "Oh, Sheamus." And we have people that have collections of ball marks or head covers just because they love the product so much. But yeah, I mean, I would say probably our most flagship account was Bandon, but I mean, our big accounts across the U.S., that and Stream Song are just two of the kind of West Coast, East Coast, and we hit a lot of resorts in between and a lot of private clubs, especially with Troon. I mean, definitely have made that connection. So it's been great to work in and meet so many great people in the industry.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I was had we have not known that there was a relationship with Troon, I was going to make sure that I introduced you to our retail team, but it's already been done. So I'll consider my work here done. Now,
well, I appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. So the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play is presented by Eat Sleep Golf, and they always do a good job with sending in a ton of good questions. And I would not have, I guess I should have expected to ask a question like this, and I didn't even think of it, but they want to know, where does the fabric come from? I mean, you guys you talk about the camo stuff coming in, but like a normal head cover, where is this fabric coming from? And is it just kind of, you go to the store and buy it, or are you actually looking for good quality materials? Or talk through that a little bit.
Definitely. So initially we started with Pendleton wool here right in Portland area. And so locally sourced, and we built head covers or created head covers out of that. But also with that, we had finally solidified some great relationships with authentic Scottish tartan mills in Scotland. And so we'll bring wool in. It's kilt weight wool, so very heavy material that's going to last. And when we get it there, I mean, it's literally on a bolt. Nothing's made then. We just have the fabric that was, woven on a machine over there, just like they did 100 years ago. We have some great videos we've posted that you see the person that probably has been working on it for a good 40 years, and you just have to appreciate the art, I would say, even more. And so with like those materials, then we'll cut it out, create, let's say, a head cover, a pouch. I mean, you name it. We've probably at least tried it. We covers this year, which have been great. Bottle bags. It's just, I mean, where I guess a lot of people don't realize everything is made to order. So let's say you order online, it's 5 to 8 business days before that order is actually completed. And so that's very hard to sometimes convey on the website. So that's kind of my job, is making sure everyone knows ahead of time it's not going to ship tomorrow. So, but well, I mean, as far as, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so speaking of Eat Sleep Golf, now I host an annual golf tournament every summer, and I live in Scottsdale, so it's hot. Aptly named The Oven. So next year, Hashtag The Oven 17, presented by Eat Sleep Golf, as I break my chair. I can almost literally see like that anvil that you're talking about, like literally like sitting on the first tee, like where you're making. So do you do a lot of that? Do you do a lot of custom one-off events kind of things? And
definitely.
What's that process look like to somebody that's watching that might want to have a custom for their tournament?
Definitely. So we do a lot of club events, member guests, invitational stuff like that. But we've also had customers call us up and say, "Hey, I'm going down to X. I'm going to have this thing at, let's say, Bandon or any sort of course that they want." I mean, it might not even be a golf tournament, but they want something to give out. And I mean, we're happy to work with them, and especially if it's going to be, more than 20 people, like, hey, as long as we have, a little bit of ample time ahead of time, we're happy to make it, personalize it before it gets there for them so they can hand it out. And it says that, it has a touch of personalization where not a lot of mass-made products can do that. And I think that's where a lot of people really enjoy it. So we work directly with them and happy to do it. Or, I mean, you can also go to your local golf shop and figure it out as far as what you want through them, and we'll just kind of take over from there and make sure that they get what they want. But I mean, as far as a couple of big events that we've done, we have been in part of the U.S. Open the past 2 years. Chambers Bay was our first, and luckily that was in our backyard, so we were able to drive up about an hour and a half away. And with that, I mean, yeah, we had our anvil there, we had all of our head covers, and it was, I would say, organized chaos is probably a great way to describe your first U.S. Open. Akbar was there for, I believe it was 12 days straight. And so we always, just kind of reminisce. We have Survivor Week essentially afterwards is kind of like our Survivor party from the weeks prior of the U.S. Open. So, and I mean, we do that for a lot of clubs now is, yeah, we'll come down, we'll personalize on site. And they really, I think that interaction with the customer, actually seeing it made right in front of them and personalized, really sits well with them and kind of makes them appreciate the product even more.
So you're talking about being at the U.S. Open. Any tour players using your products on the LPGA or the PGA or the European Tour?
Yeah. So Ryan O'Toole she's still great supporter of ours. Mr. Kuchar happens to be sporting some of our covers over the past year or so we've loved having that. Actually, this year at the U.S. Open, he came up and he was actually pounding out ball marks for some of the patrons, which I just loved.
That's awesome.
And so that just kind of went nuts. So, I mean, we have a couple other ones in the works, as well as, we've had a couple other people featured, but I don't really have permission to repeat their names right now, so I don't want to do that.
Tiger. Sorry, excuse me.
I don't know if he's been on tour lately, though.
Well, hey, calm down now. Now, speaking of Mr. Kuchar wants him to be the captain, the final captain's pick for the Ryder Cup. I'm just saying, it's not going to happen. But that would literally, if Love would have picked him, that would break the internet. Like, the internet would just fold because Tiger sniffs at, hey, I might come back, and the internet breaks. Like, right. So I can't imagine that. But anyway, moving back.
Where he won his 96 amateur as we speak. So, I mean, we got to appreciate him. So,
I was telling you before we went live, that was, I mean, I feel like the entire year of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is just coming full circle here, because we had, I don't want to mention his name because he got beat by my favorite golfer. I mean, it's not like, Tiger's head's above me because, I'm the biggest fans, but yeah. So you have a lot of products. What is the most expensive product that Sheamus sells?
Most expensive was probably been our patchwork head cover, or I want to say that is it off the top of my head without looking. So what that is we'll go through and actually cut out little squares of, let's say, like the Blizzard patchwork was a black and white one that we did. And so cut out little individual squares. Each one is basically sewn together out into a large pattern. And so it's we call it the labor of love. It's just like that and the flag cover, because both of those two items, they take a long time to make. But behind every one, it's everything. It's kind of like one of my other loves art forms is letterpress. Everything is going to be slightly different. Everything's going to be unique. And I mean, that's the same thing we try and do exact best. Yeah, I mean, lining up exactly perfect as far as the stripes. No, you can just go up slightly, but that is the labor of love behind those products. And we recently launched, I don't know if you saw the Night Watch, which was like a black or I would say monochromatic version of the U.S. flag. And then we did a fallen officer since then. And actually, we're donating 50% of the proceeds of that back to the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund. So just little things like that, I think, is what makes Sheamus special, because we care so much about the community around us, as well as the community of golfers, that we even have the chance to be on the bag. So
that's really cool. So Eat Sleep Golf, and you kind of hinted at it a little bit, but they said, can golfers request custom materials? So if they have a specific material they want to use. So what does the customization process look like? So if I say I want a driver 3-wood and hybrid head cover made out of X, Y, or Z, what is that process? Does it change the price of the product, or kind of just walk us through that if a customer wants to have a custom piece made?
Definitely. So it depends. Let's say, like, particular military uniforms, they actually would supply us with the fabric. So we give them a discount because they're providing some of the costs that we'd usually incur. So that's one option. If let's say they have a lot of our customers have Scottish heritage. And so they look up their family name, kind of do a little bit of research, find out, let's say they're part of the Elliott clan or whichever clan it happened to be. And so we have, I would say, 300 to 400 tartans in stock at all times, which is just, we call it the wall of tartan. It is huge. But with that, tartan, you have modern, you have old colors, you have ancient, like there's multiple versions of each clan's tartan. So that's another one. Is so they might request Elliott tartan, but they want old colors, we might have modern. So that kind of throws a little bit of a kink into it. So we have our mills, we'll source the fabric, get it to us. Typically it is a little bit more of a charge. I mean, at most $10, just because we do have to get it here, and it's not, but now we are ordering so frequently, the shipping cost is basically gone on that. So we're able to help the customer out by absorbing that through our wholesale orders, or just getting regular fabric back in stock. But then from there, I mean, they can put their initials on it. They can put a saying on the leather label. It just kind of, the sky's the limit from there. And that's where our production team of Ashley and Diana, specifically those two, are just, sometimes I'll go over to them and be like, hey, can we squeeze this custom project in? They need it out by tomorrow. And, sometimes it takes a little bit of, I would say, bribery that I have to do, but they usually get it done, because I would say they're the hardest working people that I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talk about that. You mentioned a couple of names. How many people work for the company? I mean, it seems kind of small, smaller than I expected.
We're definitely a smaller company. I think last count, and once again, don't quote me on this, is about 12 or 13. And, a lot of those are
really small.
Yeah. So a lot of us are, like, I'm director of e-commerce. We have Akbar, who's in and out of the office as far as coming up with design ideas, helping us secure, let's say, a potential account. I mean, he does everything. Megan kind of organizes and Megan being his wife, organizes so much. I mean, basically all wholesale orders, but if it's going to have embroidery, if we have a tight turn we have to do for a big tournament, it's like 120 players, and we need it there tomorrow, we'll try and get it done. Basically, everyone has a great relationship, and I mean, we've added a lot of people over the last year, but they're all there, and they've made the place so much better as far as kind of taking some responsibilities off of myself, or taking some of the stresses off of Akbar. And it's truly just great to see where we're going, and the pace that we're doing, because I think that's where we're able to capitalize. Is we're so changed. If someone does need that fast-paced order, we can usually do it.
Well, just so you know, you have about 11 months before #TheOven17 presented by Eat Sleep Golf, so you have plenty of time to make plans, travel arrangements, hotel arrangements, etc. So now, I love the divot repair tools and the ball marks, and obviously everything that you do is handmade. Have you ever had just a ridiculously wild custom request, like something that's just like everybody just looks at each other and is like, whoa, I can't believe they want us to make that kind of a scenario?
As far as hand forged, or as far as our head covers?
Yes, either or both.
I mean, we'll get some great sayings on the ball mark. Like one was I've been doing for a friend over at Portland Golf Club. It was, I think it's at Oats and Yay, banned in 2016, which is, I think it's 22 characters on a ball mark. Unfortunately, I had already told him I'd personalize them for him, and then he sent me that. So I just kind of bit the bullet.
That's like the text on the back of a Stone beer. Like you have a chapter of a book on the back of every bottle of Stone, whether it's a 22 ounce or a 12 ounce. It's like, here, read this book.
Yes. So with that, I mean, I did it, but I think it ended up taking about an hour to stamp those out just to make sure they all are somewhat consistent and looked presentable. And I think I'm glad I did practice on one of our house ball marks. That I'm like, you know what, before I do this, fits how I want it. And but no, I mean, craziest custom head cover, probably. I don't know if you're familiar with Eric Anders Lang and Be the Ball.
Slightly, yeah.
Okay, he also does scratch TV, like with the PGA. I don't know if you've seen any of those videos. So he came by, he was filming one of those videos, and cruised by after going to a Goodwill store and buying a shirt. He brought a beanie, and I think he had some patches, if I'm not mistaken, of like the Portland Timbers, super unique pieces. And so he brought it up, and they're videotaping the show as we're going, and Megan literally cuts it out, puts it together. It was, I would say, the most unique piece we've probably ever done as far as a head cover. I don't know if it would probably be in my bag, but I think that probably might be the most custom because we had no time to turn it, and it was out of materials that we probably would never suggest that you make a head cover out of.
That's awesome. Yeah. I use Frank because, well, I mean, Tiger. So I have Frank on my driver. I have the 25th anniversary head cover that Troon turned 25 last year. So I have that signature head cover. And then my hybrid head cover is, well, you know, the one that came with it. So maybe I'm in the market for
I think you're about due then, Ricky.
Yeah, I think so. I'm about due for new clubs too, but that's a totally different conversation. So where do most of your sales come from? Is it green grass accounts, online, tournaments, like mix of them all? But what's the number one driver of sales for the company?
Driver of sales is word of mouth by far. And awesome. You know, it's been crazy to see the growth, especially in my sector, as well as by having someone that's dedicated to it and can, you know, you're not trying to juggle wholesale, retail, as well as some of these charitable tournaments that we do. And I mean, for one person to do that is it is the definition of insanity. So now that we have our own, I would say, departments and people seeing over it and being able to take that personal touch with it and make sure things are taken care of, I think everything's grown, and it's really helped us out as a business.
So your products are so well suited for like a blog, whether it's new products or custom designs or what have you, whether it's photos or videos, the process. Do you guys have a blog? I know you're active on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do you have a blog? And if not, is that something you're thinking about adding in the future?
We do have a blog. I would say this year, unfortunately, it hasn't been updated nearly as much as it needs to. But we do have one coming out this Friday as well. Well, yes, it'll pop up Friday, but I would say the announcement will probably go out Monday as far as on our social channels. So, but no, we're definitely planning. We have someone that has, you know, provided to a little bit more of our research and time that, you know, like I didn't have time to write when I'm trying to get product images up and making sure the vocabulary is correct on all those and the style numbers are correct, that I don't get yelled at by HR or something. But but no, so we do have someone on that. So you'll see a lot more, I would say, updated content that we've generated, which that's one thing that I was drawn to the site before I got there, was some historic pieces in Portland, like Alderwood Country Club, that is now the Portland Airport runway. You know, just different stuff like that. And that, I believe, had hosted an amateur event at one point. You know, it's just like crazy things like this that people forget about. And so I think you'll definitely see us, I would say, highlighting a little bit more of that over the next few months.
There's to that very point, a buddy of mine who I used to work with had his one and only hole-in-one on a golf course that is now where the Cubs play spring training. So I can totally appreciate the fact that a golf course is now a runway. So
it's just brutal to think about.
Now, I didn't tell you before we went live that this was going to fly by, and it has, and it did. We only have a couple of minutes left, but I got one more question, and then we're going to do what's called the back nine. It's just 9 fun, non-Sheamus golf-related questions. But before we go, I got to know, other than club head covers, what are some of the other products? I mean, we've talked about the divot repair tools, and you know, you do flasks, like just crazy stuff. Like, what are some of the products we haven't touched on that you guys make and that you might sell, you know, some of?
Well, we make actually some bottle openers, which have, I don't know if you followed the U.S. Open at all this year, but that was one of the things that was kind of highlighted. It was one of the most unique things I think we'll ever do, and it was shaped after the church pew bunkers at Oakmont. So we're back at Oakmont, so we handheld. It was probably just, I don't know, 6-7 inches long, but it was literally a replica, like of an overhead view, and it had one of the final bunkers on the end had a bottle opener. And we were sold out before the tournament even started. They were all individually numbered. It was insanity to see. And then we were able to sell them through with the USGA and take some pre-orders afterwards, which was still just amazing to see the response. And it got named, like, I think, the best bottle opener ever by Shackelford on his blog. I mean, just little crazy things like that. So that's one of the things you'll see some more of. I mean, this year, as well as last, we did a lot of product development. I think you guys are going to see that coming up. And I'd say November, December, you might be amazed.
I think you know what's coming up, and you're just sitting on it. Like, there's nothing you can release. Like, no big unveil tonight on the Wednesday match play.
Unveil.
Just give us something. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Well, actually, we do a 5th anniversary collection coming. And because this is our 5th anniversary year, that I think that's probably enough. But let's say it'll be a very unique offering and wide range.
That couldn't have been more of a blanket just spread across the entire plethora of what you guys do. No, I'm going to allow that, though, because when it comes out, I'm going to be like, yeah, I knew that. I knew that was coming. Yeah.
You know, but that, or as well as, you know, our golf bags are coming back. So I don't know if you followed the fescue project. So some of those, I believe that'll actually come back in mid to late October. You'll see something come out, but we'll do more of very similar to what we've been doing, but that's part of the 5th anniversary collection. How about that? There, I give you a little nugget.
Yeah, that's a nugget. All right. So the next 9 questions are about you, golf, fun, not about Sheamus. If you tie in Sheamus, I'm going to allow it, because I don't know if you watch the show called Hot Ones on YouTube, but I'm obsessed with this show with Sean Evans. And it's actually fun because I'm a chicken wing fan, almost fanatic. And he has 10 questions, 10 hot wings. They get hotter. Start with sriracha and get hotter. Well, I only give him that plug because I'm trying to interview him for my blog. So, Evans, let's do this. Let me interview you. But he asks just pretty fun, random questions. But the next 9 questions, have some fun with this. Are you ready for your back 9?
We'll give it a shot.
What is your favorite PGA Tour major?
PGA Tour major, I mean, isn't that a no-brainer? It's the Masters, first tournament of the year.
See, I thought you might say the U.S. Open because of you were just there.
But what golfer is not excited that first week of April?
Good point. I will be honest. I don't watch unless Tiger is playing. And this year, it was raining. I'm a golfer first, a Tiger fan second. This year it was raining, so I didn't play golf on Sunday. I fell asleep when Jordan was on 11T, and I woke up when he was on 13T. If you can imagine how much I missed in that nap, I'm still bitter about it. Have you ever had an ace?
I have. Waverly Country Club.
Not fair.
Yeah, number 11, I believe. So it was in a pro-am, actually. So
no kidding. Do you still have the ball? And do you know what you hit?
Yes, I do. Hit 9-iron from 153. And no, actually,
7-iron for me, unless it's downhill downwind.
I still have the club. I actually do not have the golf ball.
Oh, no. What'd you do with the ball?
I don't know. I kept playing. I mean, I'm going to keep the club. That thing's gold to me. That thing's going on a plaque. But the golf ball, I mean, it's a golf ball.
What is your favorite 19th hole libation?
Definitely an old-fashioned, as I might be partaking in right now.
I thought that I was hoping it was either that or just like a Scotch neat. I mean, it is Wednesday. I mean, it's hump day. We made it this far. What golf ball are you currently playing?
I play. I'm slightly high maintenance, I'll admit it. I know the Callaway rep in the area, so I'm a full-time. I used to be a Callaway staffer, and I'm still a full Callaway guy at heart. So I play the Chrome Soft, and I believe it's a Star, so it's like their prototype ball.
It is, and I will say Randy Rubin was actually in our office today, and he didn't come see me. So Randy, no worries, that's fine. I heard you, so we'll call that even. And I am this close to making the switch, but I'm a Pro V1 guy. So, but yeah, the new Chrome Soft is as close as it gets. It needs one more hit and check and stop. It gets the hit, check, and roll. If it had the hit, check, stop, Randy, I hope you're listening. What is your favorite golf course?
Favorite golf course that I've played, or favorite golf course in general?
Yeah, you have to have played it.
Okay, well, sometimes like Augusta would probably be my favorite golf course, but I haven't.
But you don't know that if you haven't played it. How do you know?
Because I've been there. That was my bachelor party.
Oh, man, stop it. I haven't been.
Favorite golf course? I mean, it's got to be the Sheep Ranch down just north of Bandon. That was probably the most fun I've ever had.
I've heard a lot of good stories about that place.
Yeah.
Beer or wine? Let's put the Scotch and the whiskey to the side.
Beer, definitely. I live in Portland. I mean, aren't we the craft brew hub of like America or the world at that case? So I have to go beer there.
San Diego County has 103 breweries with 108 scheduled to be open by end of year. So they've got a bunch. But you do have, and I told you before we went live, I take a European beer trip every year. We take a domestic beer trip every year as well. A couple of years ago, one of our stops on that domestic beer trip was Portland.
Good.
And we started at Voodoo Donuts, so it had nothing to do with beer whatsoever. But it was a very good experience. But yes, there are a lot of, and actually one of my favorite beer bars, we went to it at least twice, if not 3 times, and I'm never going to remember the name of it. And you might even know it. It's got TVs on the wall as the menu. It's beer only, and then the weight of the keg tells you there's a little either green, yellow, or red of how much is left, so you know what to order first. And the prices were outrageously good, and it was very close to Voodoo. We walked there from Voodoo. Do you have any idea what that place was called?
Oh man, there's so many like that around here right now. I mean, especially on the west side. So I'm a west side guy. I'm not downtown too often anymore, but Yard House is my first guess, but I doubt that's it. Just because
no, it's not Yard House.
Yeah, not ABV is my other one that's nearby that does the same thing, but not downtown.
So if you were the captain and you had one more pick, who would you pick? Don't say Bubba, because I'll close this laptop and we'll just end right there if you say Bubba.
Well, I mean, that's what everyone tries to go that way, right? And they keep telling you that, but gosh, isn't Ryan Moore in the running currently?
Yeah, he's been playing well.
He's been playing well, which I kind of like. So, and maybe that's a guy who happened to be sponsored by PXG, or still is, and maybe they carried some Sheamus head covers at once. So I'll go with Ryan.
Okay. Well, PXG, and the guy that I would pick if I were the captain was hitting PXG just a few weeks ago. He's the guy above me. But from word on the street from an inside source, he's not PXG this year when he returns at the Safeway. So I'll be curious if he does that. I don't know if you've seen the rumors Tiger's buying TaylorMade, but today Tom Enders in my office said, wouldn't that be great marketing? TW buys TM, and you can see the commercial that happens with that. I tweeted about it too. He told me to take the credit because he doesn't tweet very often. Now, Tiger, be very kind in how you answer this. Assuming, and I'm going to preface this, that assuming he comes back and he's healthy, could he break Jack's record? Why or why not?
Goodness. I just think this caliber of golfer out there at this point from where he was initially is so much better that I don't think he can. I mean, I want the guy to, because I'm sorry, that's like who's in our generation that didn't want Tiger and wasn't your childhood golf hero growing up. So I would love to see him do it. I just think the caliber out there is so impressive these days that I don't think he could do it.
I'm only going to counter you that he could do it. He's got 2, maybe 3 more at Augusta. He could win St. Andrews, and he's going to throw just a random U.S. Open at a Chambers Bay or a Whistling Straits or what have you. So he's going to do it, and you heard it here first. And you heard it here for every episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play and every episode of the Friday Foursome for the 3 years prior. He's going to break the record, and if he doesn't, I'm going to be sad because I have about 3 rooms of his stuff in my house. That if he doesn't break the record, I got a lot of stuff with his face on it that I'm not going to be able to sell. And your final question of your Hashtag Wednesday Match Play presented by Eat Sleep Golf is, what is next for Sheamus Golf? This has been an awesome interview and an awesome conversation, but what's next? I mean, you gave me a little bit of an insider peek of what new products are coming, but past that, what's the future look like for Sheamus?
You know, I think we'll come out with some new collaborations coming down the line, you know, first definitely this fall holiday season. And then we have a couple plans that we're still solidifying for spring. But I think you're going to see a lot of collaborations. I don't know if you follow Instagram as far as Link Soul, but we've been kind of working with them on some custom things with their new store down there. And as well as we did some ball marks for them. And I mean, we actually just got back from the Link Soul 2-man event. And it's just awesome. And I mean, we love the vibe that they're putting out and everything that they're doing. I mean, I think I'm probably head to toe Link Soul right now. And that is, I'm not sponsored by them, I promise. But it's just awesome. I think those collaborations, when you get 2 companies that I think are so cool together, they can do some amazing stuff.
That is awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been fantastic. I'm going to make sure that this gets blasted to every social network that I've got. It's already on Twitter. It'll be on Facebook and Google Plus and all of the fun places. But as always, whenever you watch the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play presented by Eat Sleep Golf, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.